Hey YouTube, so I'll show you guys how to bleed the cooling system on a L322 or L320 or a LR4 Range Rover with the 5-liter supercharged or non-supercharged. So first things first, you gotta know what you're doing. It's a pretty complex procedure. If you don't know what you're doing, just take it to the shop, or actually don't take it to the shop, tow it to the shop, because it's not something to play with. If you don't know what you're doing, as I said, get yourself 100% familiar with the procedure, because these motors, they hate heating, they hate overheating. If it overheats even a little bit, it's gonna eat the head gasket and it could warp the head very easily. So don't play around with the cooling system on these trucks, on these engines. So first things first, you got 4 bleeding screws. First one is on the heater core, on the pipe that goes back to the heater core. There's one on the tank. There's one behind the power steering reservoir. And lastly, there's one on the front crossover pipe, this nipple looking thing. So you crack them all loose and you take this off. And while you're at it, do replace these. They're cheap. They're about 10 to 15 bucks max. But if they fail with the age and everything, they could fail dramatically, and you don't want that to happen. So once they're off, they're loose, you take off the cap, you fill it to the brim with the right stuff, not the universal, not the green stuff. You take either Deck School or whatever that's Land Rover certified. You fill it to the brim, and you're gonna see coolant start weeping out on all 4 of the holes. Once you see coolant coming out, it means air's coming out as well, so that's a good sign. Then you close them with the coolant to the max. Then you come to the cabin, you put the heat to the max as well. On your L322s, you got different rear heating system as well. You got different heater core, different blower, different whatever. So front to the max, rear to the max. You turn on the car. I already bled the system on mine, so I don't have to turn it on. So you let about 15 to 20 seconds to let the oil circulate, and then with the heat on, right? With the heat on, you rev it up to about 1500 RPM and you hold it until you start getting heat on all 4 vents. On all 4 vents, you got to start feeling heat. And then after, you got to check the back. You also got to feel the heat. If you don't feel the heat coming out, it means there's air in the rear heater core. Make sure you also bleed the rear cooling system, rear heater core, sorry. And in order to do that, keep the RPMs, rev up those RPMs a little bit more, leave it at 2500 for about 25 to 30 seconds. And once you start feeling heat coming out, turn off the truck, come to the engine bay, fill up the tank once more, the cap off, the screws on, fill it up, and close it back on. Close the cap back on. And once it's closed, turn off the heat. But make sure you have heat coming out though before. If you don't have heat, redo the procedure again. So make sure you have heat, so you turn them off, the front and the rear system. Once they're off, once it's off, monitor these the temps with either Gap ID or any other dealer spec or garage spec tools, because these gauges are fake. They don't do anything. They're not reliable, so do not rely on these because they're fake. They're just, as I said, they're dummy gauges. If they're overheating, it's just still gonna stay in the middle, and once it's too late, it's gonna hop to the red and it's gonna be too late. So as I said, with the heat off, you hold the RPMs at 3000 for about I would say 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes, not seconds, but minutes. And then you keep monitoring the temperature. If it stays for about 90 to 98 degrees Celsius, it means it's doing its job. Everything's working properly. And make sure the cap is off, right? Cap is on, because you want to pressurize the system properly. And then you leave it on. You check the temperatures, and it shouldn't go up. It should stay normally around 95, 98, or whatever. And then After holding for about, as I said, 5 to 6 minutes, you turn off the truck and then you go back up. Do not open the cap, because now the system is going to be pressurized, and God forbid it could explode on your face, it could burn your face or hands or whatever. Do not open this. Let the engine cool. Let the cooling system cool. Wait, give it about at least 2 to 3 hours before opening the cap. And then while doing that, just check your work, check everything. It should be leak free. There shouldn't be any sign of coolant coming out, seeping out, whatever. So if you have coolant coming out, do check your work, redo it if you can. As I said, make sure it's properly leak free. And then you wait a couple hours, you let the engine cool properly, and then the levels should go down a lot. Once it's back up, you fill it up to about 10 millimeters above the cold filler mark, about to here. And then you close it and take it for a drive. And then while driving, as I said, monitor the temps. If it doesn't act up, it means there's no more air in the system, and it should be air free. Put everything back up, and for about a day, if you're driving for about a day, look at the temperatures. As I said, do not rely on the dummy gauge on the dash. Check your work again if you can. Crawl under, check whatever you can, because as I said, they hate heat. These engines, if they overheat, it could cost drastically, could fail dramatically, whatever. So be sure that you did the work properly and you did it right. So that's it. You shouldn't need any special type of tools. You could do it at home, but you gotta know what you're doing, as I said. All right, thanks for watching.